Alright everybody, Doug Lane here, Fast Lane Car Care as always. Today we've got a gorgeous 2005-2006 Ford Focus 4-door non-hatchback version. We got the sedan. We're going to do, first I'm going to show you guys how to heat shrink and install a back window. Then we'll do it. Come over here. You need to put something down on this back window. It could be dryer sheet, it could be bar soap. Summertime, I'll use bar soap. Wintertime, I like using the dryer sheet because it goes a little bit faster. It just like, see, that's already starting to dry. Same deal. And the boss wants me, so throw that in there. All right, hang on. We are back. You can see the dryer sheet has already dried. I've been gone for less than 2 minutes. I already got my towel down on the back deck lid. I got my lights in there ready to go. Now we're going to roll some film out here. I generally use 36 and 24 inch rolls. Sometimes I'll use 20s, but I like to get 36s. There are just very, very few times that I've found when you're going to need more than that. Okay. Just putting the film on the glass here. Some people pull the roll actually out of the box, but I don't like doing that. Okay. I'm using Helios Orbit from sundistributingdirect.com. It's a lifetime warranty color stable dye to film, so it works out really well. I generally don't have any issues with it. Only time I've ever had to really warranty anything for as far as like film failure has been if it was tinted in the cold and it got rolled down too early, and that's pretty much it. I mean, that's not the film's fault, but that's about the only issue I've had. So I'm just gonna kind of stick it in the middle and try to kind of pull a little bit of it out this way, because I just kind of want to get rid of this little finger here. It's not really little, that's kind of the issue. Open that up. I don't want to pull super tight though. We'll start my H pattern. So now I don't have a whole lot of here's the dot matrix. I don't know if you can see it, and then here's the edge of the film. I'm good with that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this strip off here, just to get it out of the way. Right about here. I'll do the same thing on the other side. And I'm going to show you one of the biggest reasons why I like using, oh great, didn't even cut. Why I like using a 36 inch roll. Using stainless blades. I got yelled at for using carbon on cars because you can scratch the glass. I've never really had an issue with the carbon blades scratching glass. I've scratched glass before and had to fix it, don't get me wrong, but bam, there we go. The carbon blade was not the culprit. It was definitely just my fault. I was in an environment where I could not see. They had really crappy lighting, and I was pushing too hard and got a little scratchy scratch. Let's pull that whole film. Yes, I did. That's okay. I'm looking like a rookie now. There we go. Tack it kind of hard. Doing that, you want to pull it towards you. Now, if you've been around window tint for a while, you probably know why I just cut basically a T out of it. And that is because, I grab my stool here. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use this part here for the windshield strip. I could cut it closer, but I'm gonna leave myself some room. Here's the dot matrix, here's the edge of the film now. I'm gonna leave some room past this just so I can heat it, shrink it if it gets too hot and I melt the edge. Not a big deal because I will be well past the matrix. So, freaking hairs everywhere, dude. This is kind of one of those weirdly proportioned cars. Normally I don't even need a stool. I mean, I'm not tall or anything by any means, but I usually don't need one. Now what I'll do, get this out of the way. And just see what that's gonna look like. That's gonna give me plenty of depth. The law here is 6.5 inches from the top, but it doesn't specify whether we're talking about the top of what you can see through or the very top of the glass. I generally come down to the bottom of the mirror mount. Being that this is only like 4 or 5 inches, I'll probably come down like an inch below that. We'll just stick it on there, see how it looks. My other side's a little wonky, but we'll make that work. That's why I like using 36-inch rolls. You can do the same thing with 40s. Excuse me. Now, I suppose I could even this out. I'm not even gonna bother. It's not gonna matter. If you're new to shrinking, you can tell that this is not even. It's not gonna matter to me. I've been doing this long enough. The reason why it does matter is you can see up here you got fingers. And then if we look across here, we've got fingers. You can't shrink these sideways. Like if there's a finger this way, we can't shrink that. It has to be going up and down. So, just kind of split these open, split them up, get them organized. Where's the heat gun? I think this is new to me. It's just a Fusion hard card. I guess some people like shrinking with these. I usually use this. I'm just getting the hang of this, see how I like it. Normally, I would like to cut this down, but we'll just give it a shot like this. Yeah, let's just go ahead and cut that. I just have a feeling that if I don't, it's gonna give me problems. There, that makes me feel a little bit better. Go ahead and snap another blade before I forget. Alright. I like to start at the top. It really doesn't matter. See the film starting to, I call it dancing, but the film's just starting to do its thing, starting to move around. Get some film shrink. This part here, especially if you're new, it's not a race. Take your time. Shrink it as slowly as you have to. Obviously keep your heat moving, because if you leave your heat in one spot, you'll melt the film. But if you can only shrink a ½ inch at a time, shrink a ½ inch at a time. If you can shrink and push 2 inches, push 2 inches. You'll get the feel for it. Some cars you'll be able to shrink real fast, other cars you won't. I don't know if you can tell, but this is trying to go this way. I'll push this over. When we start getting to the bottom, we got to be a little bit careful. It's easier to melt the film, because your heat's going to get trapped right here under this deck lid, and some cars are worse than this. You'll have more of an overhang, but your heat will like to hang out around here, and you can melt your edge, which we've left ourselves about 3/4 of an inch. So we'll probably be fine, but just something to take note of. Just be careful of it. You don't want to melt if you're right on the line, or you have which I'm sure if you're watching this, learn how to shrink. You don't have a plotter, but if you, for whatever reason, already cut out your film, or you had a plotter and you're going to be really close to this edge, that's when you're going to want to be really careful about where your heat's going to lay and all that. So now this isn't really laying down as smoothly as I want it to. So I'll just lift this up a little bit and just repeat. All right, so we got our top side done on this one. We got our bottom. So we got this little spot here, which I know that's gonna go away. It's in the release liner, but let's say it was a little bit bigger, a little more exaggerated or whatever, and you weren't sure. What you can do is exactly what I just did. I got some more air underneath it, and then if you really wanted to, you could kind of gently push even more air to it, to wherever that little crease or whatever is. And now that little spot's gone. The thing I don't like about this is you can see all the scratches it puts in the film. Your felt card will do the same thing, but not nearly as bad. As you can see, like this right here isn't perfect, but here's where our film is going to get cut. So it's not really a big deal at all. I mean, we could, it's fine. So for comparison's sake, we'll take our felt card out, felt wrapped Bondo card. Get our film kind of over here. I'm not like I do like a loose H pattern. I don't really care to lock the sides down that much. I mean, I don't know. It seems like it causes more problems to me. Some people wet down the outside and the middle and make like an actual, like a hard H. It just doesn't really work that well for me. So I just kind of loosely tack it down. And we can see we got our little fingers here that are in the middle of our H pattern. I'm just gonna heat them up and split them, basically push them up and down. Now, I want to demonstrate something real quick. You can see this is like wanting to pop up and all that stuff, just where there's a lot of tension. What you can do is take your slip solution and just kind of lock that down. You don't want to spray a ton, just a little bit, just kind of keep that in place for you. Just go back to business as usual. That moisture will slow down your shrink a little bit, but to me it's a lot better than having to fight with that little pocket shrink action there. This is a lot better than fighting with the film, trying to peel up on you and all that stuff. Now we can come in here and kind of split that up a little bit. Boom. So right there we've got something underneath the film. Who knows? I cleaned these windows already, but sometimes you'll have stuff like that. So the same thing that's kind of happened here that happened over there. We can just come back here, get a little air underneath it. Of course, it's gonna wanna release the tension everywhere, but come back. This is kind of unnecessary. You don't have to re-shrink all of it. But as you can see, it's not gonna take very long. And in my opinion, if it ensures that you're not gonna have any little fingers down here, then you might as well, because if you get a finger up here on the top, you can heat that up. Not a big deal. You don't have to really worry about too much, but trying to get a heat gun down here in the bottom, that kind of sucks. So, I want to take this big air pocket here. I'm gonna shove it over there where that little spot was. There you go, that spot's gone. Just like I said it would be. Hang my heat gun up so I don't lose track of it. Let's throw some lights on here. Cut this bad boy out. We're only using 20% on this one, so not super dark. Once in a while, because of the way this light shines down on here, if it's like 5% with like a black interior and stuff, once in a while I'll just unplug those lights. That's really the main reason why they're on an extension cord, so that I can just easily turn them on and off, just unplug them all. I don't have to worry about switches, all that good stuff. So our border at the bottom is kind of tight, but the sides are pretty loose. So I didn't even check the top. We probably have quite a bit on the top. So I'm gonna just go about a razor blade length or two, or width I should say, away from the edge of the matrix. Biggest thing is don't cut into it. This is one reason why I cut the bottom first. Because let's say I did get a little bit of a light gap, I got a little squirrely and cut into the workspace. I could either A, just cut the top long and slide it down on the inside, or I could just slide the film down now and recut it. I'm really more of a do it right the first time and not have to do it a second time kind of guy, but make no mistake, we all make mistakes. All of us tinters, despite what you see on YouTube. There is no such thing as a totally perfect tint job. Alright, so let's look on the inside. Oh yeah, we got a huge border. Hopefully you guys can see that. I mean inches. So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my cut where I was in the corner. I'm just going to take it up out here. And I'm not really even pulling. I'm just barely putting any pressure on this film to make it pull away from that. And I'm always pulling away from the film. If you get a spot where you didn't quite get it cut all the way, and you go yanking it, So you just, you can cut into, it'll tear up into your workspace and ruin it. So, and you saw me here, I put my finger here and tore away from it. Same deal. So now I'll grab my step. I'm gonna go ahead and lay these down. I love this Milwaukee light, man. It's just so handy. You can just put the light really wherever you need it. It'll fit up there a lot of different ways. So some of you guys might be wondering, like, you know, how is this a professional setup here? This is my home garage. Most of the time I'm mobile. I don't work outside. I only work if they have a garage big enough to safely open the doors. And lately, I've been kind of kicking around, even stopping doing that, just getting an actual shop. I make really good money on the road, so to speak, but the problem is the quality is kind of inconsistent because I'm really limited to what the customer has as far as, is their floor clean? Is there enough room? Like here, I can open up all these doors, I can walk around it, and that stuff needs to get put away for the winter so we can get both cars in here. But I digress. We have plenty of room to walk around this. Well, the problem is you'll get other customers and I'm like, oh yeah, we got plenty of room. And then they'll have like stuff like this just all lined down the side of the car, and you're bumping the door into stuff, and or you show up and like, oh well, I thought there was gonna be more room, and then they gotta move stuff around. So I take either this one or this one, this ladder, and I just use it like this. I'll set up in a customer's house. I've also got my keg, which is not pictured. I'll take this heater here with me, propane forced air, works great. This one stays here because it's diesel, and diesel splashes around and it's really heavy. That way I've got heat, and then you can see all the film I've got. I think I still have more in the truck, but I'll take whatever I need with me. Typically I know at least the night beforehand what each customer is going to get, so that way I don't have to carry around, you know, 6 different rolls, a bunch of different shades, whatever. I already know. So now we'll unplug the light. I'll just hang it up here, plug my heat gun back in, because alrighty then, I'll need it. So yeah, think about just not doing mobile anymore. It's super convenient. I've met a lot of nice people, like, and got to know them in a way you wouldn't get to know them if you were just, you know, you just show up and, or if they show up to a shop and drop their car off, you wouldn't get to know them really that well. So that's been a lot of fun. It's been really cool. However, I'm more interested in like just top quality. So it's I don't know, something to consider, something to think about. Especially this time of the year, it seems like more people are wanting to drop their stuff off anyway. I don't know if it's just because they know they don't have heat or what. I'm not sure. But so throw this stuff in here real quick. What is this? No idea. So here's my Squeaky Monkey Rewind 2 Raw hydrophobic coating remover. Stuff works great. I used to use Windex. I really had like a custom homemade brew of stuff that I used, but so let's just get started. Just kind of looking around here. Throw a little bit of moisture on there. Take this. What this is going to allow us to do, That's probably too much. This stuff, well, one, it removes the hydrophobic coatings on a lot of the newer cars, but this stuff's got a little bit of grit to it, a little bit of texture. And so what that's going to do, especially in conjunction with the steel wool, is going to really help get anything out of the pores of the glass. Stuff that's just not going to come off if you just wipe it with a, cleaner and a towel. And the steel wool also helps rough up the defroster lines. It gets like rust, which these do rust. They get condensation on them over time, and they oxidize. And that makes your window tint not want to stick to it. Same way with these dot matrix. Hopefully you guys can see. I did a test with this GoPro and all that yesterday, and realized like half the back window footage was shot because you were basically looking at the headliner. But so this ceramic border here and the dot matrix, it's getting roughed up with this. It's going to help the window tint stick to it. We're not going to have as much of a silvering line or a gray line around it. Probably will still get some. It's not perfect. Some cars it works really great on, other cars it doesn't really seem to matter. But in the interest of getting it clean, this is what we're gonna do. So I know some people will say, oh no, don't use steel wool. You'll get these little steel wool specks all over your glass and it'll be in your install. And then you'll know because you'll have like a little rusty hair if you ever see the car again. Well, here's the deal. This pad's basically ready for the trash. I don't know if you can see, but it is starting to fall apart. So, this is ready for the trash. Mist. These are really cheap. Buy a big box of them. Here's the critical step. Take a towel. This is rocket science here. We're gonna push and wipe down around that dot matrix. Look at that. Look at all the gunk, the black trash that it just pulled off, just that one area. So now we'll flip this around. Now, if there is one car or set of cars, series of cars that I hate working on, it would definitely be Ford Focus and Fusions. They suck. Their deck lids are just annoying. Most of them, and the Fiestas too. They're just really tight most of the time on the bottom. It can make getting your film in there kind of a pain. So, check that out. So we wiped it all down. Now, move this, don't need it. Take our squeegee. I'm gonna squeegee away any dust. That's also gonna get rid of any of those little hairs, those little steel wool fibers, if you will. Just like that. Then we'll take our bulldozer and push everything down as far as we possibly can, which unfortunately on these cars is not very far. So I'm overlapping my squeegee almost half my strokes, and then here I'm just any dust or whatever, knock that off. You could do this with a towel, but the problem is your towel will likely put lint back on it. So got that all squeegeed. Now I am a little bit I get a little bit serious with the water when it comes to my back windows. Obviously, if it's a Tesla or something really modern, it's likely got computers and stuff in the pillars, don't do that. This is an old car, so we don't have to worry about it so much. So just take note of that. Don't go as crazy with the water as I did, because I wouldn't have done it if it was a new car. But anyway, what I'm doing here I'm just misting the area over it, over the film, so that way if anything is floating over top of it, it's less likely to get trapped or sucked in when I remove this release liner. Now we're going to do what's called a reverse roll, sushi roll, Cali roll, whatever you want to call it. We're going to start wherever we're going to end. So I like to start on the driver's side, so that way I can put my film on the passenger side first. A couple different ways to do this. Normally, I won't bother taking the film and putting it on the glass when I reverse roll. What I normally do is I'll just pull this all the way off. Like this, I'll roll it all the way out, pull the liner off, and then stick it on the glass. Works out really well for me. This looks like a vehicle that we might be able to actually stick it on there. There's no rear tail light to worry about, anything like that. So, nah, I'm not even gonna bother. And that's exactly why the liner's wanting to get stuck. So we want to make sure we're not touching our deck lid or anything with our bare film. Try to like to get it stuck on the bottom, or positioned, I guess I should say. We need to come over this way. Now we can start to come up. Oh, man. Let's see here. We'll start to come up. And you see we got a little light gap here. No big deal. Let's just get some of this out of the way. We can come over here. And it's starting to tack up on me. But that should be good. We got no light gaps anywhere. Our deck lid looks good. No gaps down there. Just kind of smooth out some of these big fingers just so we don't have problems with them later. And now, let's show you guys. Try to get you a good view. Give it a little mist. I like to start pretty much dead center and just kind of work out like this for a second. Just kind of distributing the film evenly. I'm not using a ton of pressure, because let's say your film starts to tack up and you're pushing this big bubble and then it hits a dry spot and you run over it. Well, you just creased it and you get to start all over. And I mean, unless you don't care about quality. If you're just doing it yourself for your own car or whatever and you're happy, you know, you're okay with that, then more power to you. But for us that are making a living with it, that's just not really acceptable. So now I like to just come across here. So now we're gonna have this finger right here to contend with. No big deal. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna pull it right here. So it's nice vertical. Come here. I like to get as low as I can with the Fusion, Turbo, whatever, Orange Crush. This squeegee, yes, this squeegee that I'm using. Okay, so we pretty much got everything that we can get to. We're gonna use our bulldozer for this, but I'm not gonna bother with it yet. Hit it again. Now I'm gonna come across, you can see I'm pushing a lot of water now. I'm coming across pretty hard. I'm going to avoid this little spot here. Yeah, oh, look at that. Got lucky. I figured I was gonna have to heat it up. But same deal, using quite a bit of pressure, pushing up. I'm gonna come back across. I like to start in the middle and work out. Okay, I can tell I did not squeegee really right there. Same deal, I'm gonna try to get as low as I can. Putting a lot of pressure on that. You can see all that moisture. This is just gonna help your defroster line stick a lot better. Now this is gonna be the annoying part, because what will happen is your bulldozer wants to get stuck between the deck lid and wants to pull your film back up. So best case scenario, it just pulls a little bit of moisture back up and you squeegee it out, try again. Worst case scenario, peels your film up, pull some trash with it, and then it looks like garbage. And then you get to redo it. So, there we go. That's good to go. So now we'll take a dry towel. I like to take the, if you notice here, we've got a short pile side and a long pile side. I like to take my short side now, and I'm just kind of gently wiping along the edges. Wipe off this pillar. Boom. Okay. Why I wipe down the edges is just, especially on the top, sometimes moisture likes to find its way back down in here. If you take the moisture out of the equation, it can't do that. And I'm not super worried about making the window clean right now, because if you are, you push too hard, you can crinkle the film, you can get the film to lift, whatever. Not good. So, now normally I would be done with this. I would not touch this until I'm done, because once I'm completely finished with the vehicle, that's when I come back around and wipe down all the windows, do a final wipe down inspection. But just for the video, I'll go ahead, take that dryer sheet off there. In case anybody's wanting to know what slip solution I'm using, it is Fusion All Type. I used to just use dish soap, but man, it just dries my hands out so fast. Now, if this is a fancy car, a nice car, I would not risk scratching this deck lid. But as you can see, someone else has already scratched the crap out of it. And here we got some defects in the glass that obviously are not from us. So we'll just wipe our streaks off of here. And look, we don't have any air bubbles on our defrosters. We don't have any fingers or anything around here. We have a little bit of stuff on the inside of the window, just residue left over. Got a little bit on the outside. But as you can see, 10 out of 10, man, clean install. I mean, if you can find something wrong with that, like I said, there's some scratches and nicks in the glass, but that's not from us. So there you have it. So next up, quarter windows.